Hi friends, I'm Yakuta Karkhanawala. Today we are going to discuss about Introduction to Computer. So let's see what are the topics that we are going to cover in this particular chapter. The first one will start with the block diagram of computers, where we are going to discuss about the different parts of computers. Then we'll have programming languages, and the last will be hardware and software. So let's start with the block diagram of computer. So as I said, here we are going to discuss about the different components used in computers. So to start with, the first component that we are going to use is input unit. Input unit is used to feed some data inside the computer. Then we have output unit. That is, output unit is used to get the result of the processing which is been done by the computer. Now for processing work, we have CPU, that is central processing unit, which is divided into two parts. One is ALU, another is CU. ALU stands for arithmetic and logical unit. CU stands for control unit. With CPU is attached primary memory, and this completely forms a particular complete block. So the input unit, the data goes to the CPU does the processing, and the result goes to the output unit. Other than that, we have secondary memory, also known as auxiliary memory, right? So we'll see all the details of this particular components into more details. The first will start with input and output unit. So input unit is, as I said, is used to enter some data inside the computer. So whatever data will feed or the instructions will give to the computer will be processed. Examples, how you are going to give in data inside the computer. So for that we have mouse and keyboard. These are the two very common input devices used in computer. Mouse is known as a pointing device. So it is used to point or select some items or icons on the computers. Keyboard is for inputting alphanumeric data. Alphanumeric data means entering alphabets or numbers. Giving such type of inputs to the computer will take the help of keyboard. There are also some special functional keys available for doing a specific task. Then we have output unit. Output unit is used to get the result of the processing done by the computer. The different examples of output unit is monitor, one which is very famous, where we are going to get the display of the result of the output. Then we have speakers. Speakers are for getting audio output. The third one is printers. Printers is to get the hard copy of the files prepared on the computer. So these are three basic output devices that we use it in our daily life. Then comes after getting the data through the input device, and we know that the result we are going to get it onto the output unit, but how the processing is being carried out in the computer. So for that we have CPU, that is central processing unit. It is known as the brain of the computer because the data which we get from the input units is processed, or the logic is been applied on that particular data using a CPU. So that is the brain or the main important part of the computer. This CPU is further divided into two parts. One is ALU and another is CU. ALU is arithmetic logic unit, CU is control unit. Now what is the job of ALU? So ALU, as the name suggests, it is used for performing arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplications, division and so on. Logical operations means testing for some conditions in your program, where your output would be either true or false. Like say for example, I want to test whether a number is greater than 100. So for that the logical unit will play its role. Then we have control unit. Control unit is for controlling the different peripheral or components of your computer. So control unit is going to decide when to take the data from the input unit, from which place the data has to be taken, whether from the data to be taken from keyboard or mouse, when to display the result on the output unit, when and where to store the data in the memory, and so on. So all this cumulative work or controlling work is done by the control unit. So this is the picture of CPU. The CPU looks like this way, and this CPU is normally fitted, it's fitted onto the motherboard, as you can see in the picture. After input unit, output unit and CPU, we have the next component of your computer is the memory. Memory is used for storage purpose. So if you want to store your data inside your computer, we require memory or the storage unit. For this, in this particular memory is further divided into two portions. One is primary memory and another is secondary memory. Primary memory is, as the name itself suggests, that it is the memory which directly, primary memory which directly coordinates with the CPU. Secondary memory is a extra peripheral or auxiliary memory. So let's see some details about the primary memory. So what is the use of primary memory? It is used to store the current data or the program inside the computer. So whenever we are working on some particular files or data, then the data initially is stored in your primary memory. So what's the advantage or disadvantage of primary memories? Primary memory are considered as the fastest memory. They work, since they are very near to the CPU, so the operation is carried out in faster way. Next is the disadvantage of primary memory is that the storage amount, the data which we can store it in primary memory is very, very less, right, compared to secondary memory. So this was a drawback of primary memory. Though it's fast, but it can store very limited amount of data, because of which the secondary memory came into picture. Other than that, primary memory, the memory is less, plus it is very costly as well. Right. So because of these two limitations, the secondary memory came into picture. So let's come into see the details of primary memory. Now what are the different types of primary memory available in the market? So there are two basically important primary memory. One is RAM, another is ROM. RAM is random access memory. You can see it through the picture how your RAM looks. And we have read-only memory that is also been shown in the picture. So what's the difference between RAM and ROM? RAM is considered as a volatile memory. Volatile memory means the data which you store inside your RAM is deleted whenever you switch off your computers. So the data is never permanent in RAM. The data is stored temporarily in RAM. So whenever you are working on computers, the data is initially stored in RAM, but once you switch off your computers, it gets deleted. In ROM is a non-volatile in nature. Non-volatile in nature means even if you switch off your computers and whatever data is stored in ROM will remain as it is. It will remain intact. The data would never be deleted in case of ROM. It's read-only memory. So normally in case of ROM, we write once and then we can use for reading purpose as many times as you want in case of ROM. So all your basic system files are stored in your ROM. All your current data is stored in your RAM. Next, we'll come to secondary memory. As I said, what was the limitation of primary memory? That it was costly and it has less storage. Less storage means the storage, the data which we can store is very less. Normally the primary memory is around 4 GB, 8 GB or 12 GB in the market available. So the storage is very limited. Because of this, the secondary memory came into picture. The main advantage of secondary memory is the storage is high. So normally in market, the secondary memory is in terms of 500 GB or 1 terabyte TB and so on. So let's come. And well, let's see what are the different storage secondary memory that has been available in the market. So there are secondary memory which has less storage, but normally in our computer the secondary memory which we require is hard disk, which is of 500 GB or 1 TB. Even your floppy disks, your pen drives, your CDs, your DVDs as shown in the picture, they are also considered as secondary memory, but they are not compulsory. As and when we require, as per our use, we can have a pen drives, floppy disks, CDs, DVDs and so on. But hard disk is a secondary memory which we require in a computer for storing large amount of data. So as I said, the secondary memory is for storing large amount of data. Then it is very cheap, and the disadvantage of secondary memory is it is slow, right? Compared to primary memory, which are very fast in operation because it's near to the CPU, the secondary memory is slow. So your data is stored in secondary memory. From secondary memory it goes to the primary memory. From primary memory the data is being taken by the CPU for processing. Once the processing is over, the data finally it's stored again back into secondary memory, so it remains intact, and you can recover whatever data you have stored in secondary memory later on after few days or few hours. Even if you switch off your computers, your data will remain intact in your secondary memory. So this was all about the block diagram of computer, where we have seen input unit, output unit, ALU and the different types of memory. Let's come to the next topic of this chapter is hardware and software. Now what do you understand by hardware and what do you understand by software? So hardware is the physical devices of your computers, right? As we have seen, what we can say as hardware, the keyboard, mouse, RAM, ROM, these are all your hardwares of your computer. It can be touched, right? So these are all your hardwares of your computer. Without hardware, we cannot ask the computer to perform some task. But not only hardware, we require to control this particular hardware, to use this hardware, we require software. So software is nothing but a program or a set of instructions that we give it to the computers. So all the set of instructions or the commands that we give to the computers, that forms a software. So software is also required and one of the important controlling point of your computer. So we have, as seen in the diagram, we have different types of hardware and software. Let's go into some few more details about software. So software are basically of two types. One is system software, another is application software. System software is the software which is used to control the hardware of the computers. Okay, so if you want to control the keyboard or store data inside the memory or display any result on the monitor or something, right? For that we require a specific software, and that all comes under system software. The software which controls the hardware are known as system software. For that there are different examples of softwares which are available in the market. So one is compiler, another is interpreter. These two things are used in programming languages, which is used to convert your data in alphanumeric or so into your binary form, or the machine language which your computer understands. Then we have OS, operating systems like Windows, Linux, Unix. These are all your system softwares. Device drivers. Device drivers means the software which controls any devices. So if you install a printer, if you connect a printer to the computer, you cannot still give the command, print command and get the printout. First you need to install the software of that particular printer. That is known as device drivers. Similarly, whatever peripheral hardwares you connect it to the computer, for that we require some software to control that hardware, and that softwares are known as device drivers. So this was all about system software. The next is application software. Application software means the software which is used by the end users of the computers. Okay, so basically normally layman persons or the programmer, they use some softwares to do some activity on the computer. This all comes under application software. Say the example, the very famous example of this is Word, Excel, MS Office, all different components of MS Office like Word, Excel, PowerPoint and so on, that are used by a normal person to do some specific task on the computer. Then we have gaming softwares to play games on the computers. We have different types of gaming software. That is also a part of your application software. Then we have different management systems like railways management systems or HR management systems, which are used to do some specific task on the computer. This all comes under application software. So thank you. Goodbye. Stay safe.